Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. About 5 topics for this video. Very important developments. Otherwise, I would not make a video. Here you have Zelenskyy saying that he is ready to buy Patriot systems, about 10. And he's ready to pay $15 billion to buy. What is Ukraine producing again? From where? From grain? Selling grain? All right, that's the first topic. But hey, Zelenskyy is going to pay. Then we find out that the foreign minister of Ukraine wants the West to pay for that. This sounds like a racket to me, money laundering and impoverishing a nation, which is Ukraine. Another one, Zelenskyy is calling out the Europeans. Hey, what did you do for me today? Remember the story? I will tell you. That's the way they are, the Zelenskyy Steins. He cries that he hasn't received the promised Patriot systems from you. You can't make shit up, my friends. Then we find out the Ukrainian air defense shot down 40 drones out of 62, and 11 just disappeared in space. Next one, Russia and Ukraine to hold meetings in Turkey for the Black Sea ceasefire? Nah, how about we don't invite the Russians? Initially, they were supposed to meet, the Ukrainians and the Russians, but then something happened and they're gonna still have the security summit without the Russians. So you have two sides fighting and you invite only one to make security, have peace. Interesting, unrealistic and not normal to have a Black Sea truce. And then we find out that Russian troops push deeper into Donetsk front. That's not good. And now the Sumy. You know Sumy, the city of Sumy? The Russians struck Sumy, the city of Sumy in Ukraine, with ballistic missiles a few days ago. And then they showed bodies and civilians dead, and a lot of people were upset. I mean, you should be upset. That's civilians dead. Now the Russians say, no. We didn't target civilians. We targeted a meeting of Ukrainian commanders. About 60 of them went to meet Jesus and others. Who's lying? First, by default, they all lie. We all lie. Okay, but we kind of figured out who's who, what's what. I made a video yesterday on this subject and I said, who struck downtown Sumy? It was the Russians or it was the Russians? I'm going to discuss this a little bit in detail in this video. So let's start with the first topic. And the first article comes from Ukrainska Pravda. Zelenskyy says Ukraine ready to buy 10 Patriot systems from the United States for $15 billion. Question, answer. Who pays for that again? Who pays for that? The Ukrainian economy is non-existent. I mean, yeah, they build some weapons. Yes, they sell some grain as much as the Russians allow them through the Black Sea non-corridor. And what else exactly? Who pays for this $15 billion? He's ready. He says Ukraine is ready. My God. And now Zelenskyy is ready. Zelenskyy is ready to buy. He buys from his stash. I think he can buy not 10. I think he can buy about 50. Patriot systems for $15 billion from US. There you go. Where's the money coming from? Huh? And here we have Sybiha. Sybiha, foreign minister, urges, I urge you to pay for my shit. European Union partners, they are partners, to fund Ukraine's advanced air defense system. So, this is how the racket goes. We have a war by the Russians, not planned by others, they will make a profit. No. It's just a coincidence, a happy coincidence for at least 3 industries. Banking industry, military industrial complex, arm manufacturing companies, and the energy industry. Coincidentally, they were lucky, like you, when you win a lottery every other day, or whenever every other drawing. So what's going on over here? We have this war, and they need weapons. In order to have weapons, they need money. In order to build the weapons, you need energy. In order to get the money, you need the banks. And then what else? The military will use that, cause destruction. The Russians cause destruction. Then we reconstruct with companies, you understand, and the money comes from the European Union, and we buy from the European Union banks or whatever they come, they buy from the American arms manufacturing companies with the American energy that's building the weapons. What a coincidence, don't you think? And who's paying for that eventually? I tell you, do you own a mirror? I own one. Every time I look in, I say, hey, sponsor. All right, let's go to the next one. New voice of Ukraine. Zelenskyy says Ukraine still hasn't received Patriot systems promised at NATO summit. So right there. So Ukraine still hasn't received Patriot systems promised at NATO summit. So if it's a promise, would you pay for this? With whose money? And by the way, are they under any obligation to provide you with that? And why? Now let me tell you a story of a certain kind of behavior that certain people employ over and over again. And that is like this. You could help these perpetual victims over and over again for centuries. Literally for centuries. And you help them, and then you punch them in the face, and you help them, and you punch them in the face, and eventually, you help them. And then he sees you in the street, this guy. Let's call him Itzik. So Itzik sees you on the street. You say, hey. You say, what's up, Itzik? You don't help me. What did you do for me? Whoa, Itzik. Remember, I did this for you. I did this for you. I did that for you. I did that for you, I don't know, 3 centuries ago. I did this for you. 50 years ago. I did this 70 years ago. I did this last year. I did this last month. I did this last week. I did this yesterday. I did these things for you. Yes, but what did you do for me today? That's the way they are. That's exactly the representation of this. Hey, we still hasn't received Patriot systems promise. And who's paying? Not Zelenskyy. Anyway, let's move on. Ukrainska Pravda. Ukrainian air defense shoots down 40 out of 62 Russian drones. 11 disappear from radar. You see, right here are not a lot of them. Not a lot of them. The Russians dropped again from 150 or 160 and up that they launched about 2 weeks ago for about 2 weeks. Dropped again to 60, 50 and so on. Alright, they launched them very nicely according to these guys and attacked Odessa, Donetsk, Dnipropetrovsk and Kharkiv. Right? Let's see where those guys are. Oh, not that actually. So it is from Odessa, Donetsk, Dnipropetrovsk, Kharkiv. And there is right here. Is it? I don't want it. Right there. So Odessa is in the south right here. Dnipropetrovsk is right here. Well, you don't see it. All right, Dnipropetrovsk. Then you got Kharkiv, Kharkov right here. And you got Donetsk. So here are the closer. Right here is Odessa. Then you got Dnipropetrovsk in this area here. Then you got Kharkiv, Kharkov. So basically this area here. Without Zaporozhye, without Kherson, and you go to Odessa, this area. All right, next one. Let's see what else. The Russians launched drones from the cities of Milerovo and Primorsko-Akhtarsk as well as Cape Shauda. So again, those are located. Let's make this great again, right? Here. Cape Shauda is right here in Crimea, where my strong hand is. Then you got right here, this is Primorsko-Akhtarsk. So that spot, and Milerovo is exactly here. So it's from the east, southeast, and south. All right, next one. Russia and Ukraine to hold direct talks. CNN Turk. This is from the 13th, which is yesterday. So delegations from the two countries will meet in Türkiye to discuss security in the Black Sea, the outlet has claimed. So the Black Sea, right here, they have to talk about it, right? Security in the Black Sea. Great. But they will not. They will not, because this is from the 14th, the next day, meeting in Türkiye on Black Sea truce to be held without Russians. Representative of the Russian Federation will not attend, but the Ukrainians will, the Black Sea security meeting scheduled for 15 to 16 of April in Türkiye. And here these guys yesterday said that the Russian and Ukrainian representatives will hold direct talks in Ankara next week. CNN Turk has reported, citing sources in the Turkish Defense Ministry. Delegations from the two countries will meet to discuss security in the Black Sea, an outlet said in an article on Sunday. However, Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andrei Sybiha claimed that the reports are false and no talks were planned. Alright, so then the next day they hold it supposedly without it. The Turkish Defense Ministry has announced that a meeting will be held in Ankara on 15 and 16 April to discuss the security of the Black Sea after a potential ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia. So that's after, not now. The new voice of Ukraine, Türkiye to host Black Sea ceasefire talks without Russia, Defense Ministry. After the war? After the war, what do you mean you're going to hold without Russia? And here is Atatürk right there. Yeah, that's what it is. The meeting is scheduled for April 15-16. So it's right now, without the Russians? BS. This is like you are called in for, let's say, a domestic dispute, domestic violence dispute, and you come in as a police officer, and you come in and you see the one over there and one in another room, and they're blocked and all that. So what do you do first? You secure the premises, make sure that these guys are not at it and can't get at it while you're over there. And you go and speak with one of your officers, your colleagues. You goes over there, partner, goes and speaks with the alleged perpetrator or the suspect, and the other one goes and speaks with the alleged victim, all right? So the victim, whatever she is or he is. And you talk, and then you come back and you make the determination of what's going to be the next move, which is safety first. And you remove one party out of the premises, either arrest, depending on the gravity, or if you just say go to mommy, go to daddy, whatever you do. All right, and the rest they can apply for PPOs, personal protection orders, or whatever they want to apply. That's the system. But you talk to both of them to find out what happened. Here, nah, we're not going to do this. We're going to talk only with the Ukrainians. Let's say the Ukrainians are the victims, okay? Why do you talk only with these guys? Why don't you talk with the other ones? I mean, Russia must be consulted. Otherwise, you're going to have no security in the Black Sea. Maybe that's what they want. Continuous war. All right, let's go next to what the Russians did in Donetsk. New voice of Ukraine. Russian troops push deeper into Donetsk front, they say. Russian troops continue to make gains near the Zarebets River in Donetsk Oblast, focusing their attacks on the village of Yampolivka after capturing the nearby settlement of Terny. Alright, this guy said, so the Russians are attacking and are advancing, according to the deep state which these guys are using. The Ukrainians are using it. I don't know why, but they do. Probably this is the minimum piece of information that these guys give according to the advances. Probably the Russians advance like this, and deep state usually reports like this for now. I don't know, I'm just kidding. I don't have anything with those guys. I don't know them. Alright, so let's go to the next one. And we're going to find out what the Russians say about the Sumy strike. Remember, Sumy, downtown, 60 wounded children, blah, 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 blah. Okay, it seems like that happened. Who did it? I made an article, a video yesterday, and I said, you know what? The Russians could tell you. I mean, let's start with different approach. Let's start from the beginning. And in the beginning, it was nothing. And it was just a spirit floating around. All right, so what happened here? And we have the Sumy strike. In a war, everybody lies. And not only, in general, that's the first victim of a war is truth. So they all lie. Now, when they tell you that it was the Russians striking that, can you, as a free person, can you verify that? How will you verify? You will verify by reading what other people told you. But other people could have an interest, and other people were not over there to see it. They got the information from two sources. One is the Russian Defense Ministry, right? The ones that say they launched it. And the other one are the Ukrainians mainly. Hey, these guys, do you know that maybe it was the Ukrainians? I'm not saying it was. But is it a possibility? It's a big possibility. False flag operations occurred in many places during many confrontations, many wars, many, how do you want to call it, crises. So let's read what the Russians claim. This is today, 14 April 2025. Sumy strike targeted meeting of Ukrainian commanders. Well, I saw people in the street over there, so I don't know what to say about that one. The attack has left at least 60 Kiev servicemen dead, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. That's what they say. I don't know if that's true or not. The Defense Ministry in Moscow has confirmed that Russian forces were behind the missile strike on the Ukrainian city of Sumy on Sunday, saying that it targeted a gathering of the country's commanding officers. Ooh, countries, counties, countries, the countries. Commanding officers. Ooh, Syrsky must be there, huh? The attack has left more than 60 Ukrainian servicemen dead, the ministry said in a statement on Monday. It was carried out with the use of 2 Iskander-M short-range ballistic missiles despite active counter-actions by the Ukrainian military's electronic warfare means and foreign-made air defense systems, the statement said. The target of the attack was a meeting of the command staff of the Seversk Operational Tactical Group of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, which was taking place in Sumy that day, the ministry said. And I'm quoting, "The Kiev regime continues to use the Ukrainian population as human shield." No, I don't believe that. Come on now. Placing military facilities and holding, yes, true, placing military facilities and holding events with the participation of servicemen in the center of a densely populated city. Well, where do you want them to be? In the field or something? Fishing trip or something? Anyway, the authorities in Sumy said on Sunday that the Russian strike left over 20 dead and more than 80 wounded, all whom were civilians. Sumy is the regional capital and the frontline city of the 250,000 people located just 15 miles, 25 kilometers from the border with Russia. I will show you where that is. All right, so let's see where that thing is. So Sumy is exactly right here. This is Kursk, where the invasion occurred. So Sumy is exactly here. This is Sumy, Sumy-e. You know what Sumy-e is? You know what Sumy-e? Sumy-e is the Japanese painting in ink, black ink. That's it. And they use Zen to strike. You have to be in a certain kind of mental state to paint. It's not like the, I don't know, Van Gogh or, I don't know, painting. Okay, you have to do it in one continuous strike, and you go, like, okay, I'm going to do this. Beautiful outside. Okay, now I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. It is not Sumy-e. It's like the art of Yaido, which is the drawing of the sword. Not Kendo. Kendo is the swordmanship. The drawing, you have to do it in one swift move. So the same with Sumy-e. You have to do it in one swift move, the whole painting. I mean, not the whole painting, but whatever you can. You have to be under a certain kind of state of mind, trance. So the Sumy, in this case, sorry, but is right here. 15, the downtown probably is in this area. And here, so these are the manufacturing, whatever it is. So, what do you think it happened? Well, we know for sure that some people died. Civilians, correct. Do we know any militaries? The Ukrainians did not show anybody. Could that be? Could that be? Always I work with probabilities to possibilities and probabilities. Is it possible that what the Russians are saying is true? Yeah, it's possible. It is probable. I give them a 50%. Is it possible that what the Ukrainians are saying is true? Yes, it's possible. Is it probable? Again, I will give them 50-50. Why 50-50? None of these guys can be trusted. They all lie. I mean, why do you think the Russians will say, yes, man, we did it when you struck only the civilians. Why do you need to strike the downtown? Because it's mostly populated? I don't know. It is true that the Ukrainians are fighting the war in the cities. And I personally disagree with that. Because when you do that, I think you should take some responsibility for what's going to happen. If you really believe we're going to defend you, you not defend them. You just draw the attention to you and the location. The Russians will attack you, the military, in the city where the civilians are. Remember, and I'm going to give you this, it's not only that, Bucharest was the same, declared itself an open city. Bucharest in Romania in the Second World War and Paris in the Second World War declared itself when the Wehrmacht was coming with the Panzer Division. Paris was like, shit, this guy's going to fuck us up. We declare it open city. Don't destroy anything. Welcome here. And that's it. And the Germans were and said, okay, we're going to do this, okay? And they did it. That's why they didn't destroy Paris. The same here. These guys could have said, okay, you want to attack us? Well, we're not going to have all the formations over there. And the meetings could be held in other locations as well. But anyway, I'm not trying here to defend anybody, just so you know. If it seems that way, I'm sorry. That's not my intention. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.